Alive. Lighting looks pretty good. Let's see about the chair height. I feel like a short person. I mean, I'm 6'2" and I'm feeling really short in this chair. That's not gonna work. Oh, that's gonna be better. Oh. Do I have to do this? I guess the answer is no. I don't really have to do this. I get to do this. That's my best effort at being enthused and being excited this morning. Thank you, Millie. Good morning, RJ. Oh, it's early. It's early. It's not early your time. Maybe it's early your time. I don't know who you. All right, let's do this, David, Miami Realtor. See, David, Miami Realtor is going to be basking in the sun today. He's probably moved all his appointments to the weekend, and he's going to lay on the beach today and sip a margarita on the beach and look at beautiful women in bikinis. So he's up at 7 o'clock his time going, let's do this. Filled with enthusiasm. And David, I love your enthusiasm. Hello, Tommy John, and I do appreciate it because we do have to do this. But I'm a little envious about what you're doing this means if you really are sitting there having a margarita looking at bikinis on the beach in Miami. I mean, maybe, I know when you live in a place like Miami, you're not hanging out at the beach all the time or doing tourist things. I lived in Chicago most of my life. It's not like I was going up at the top of even into the city that often, or doing touristy things, going up on the top of the Sears Tower, the John Hancock. The air conditioner just went on by me. I got blasted with a thing of cold air. I don't want to be blown on at this early hour. Turn it off. But anyway, bikinis on North Avenue Beach, oh yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. My name is Ken Tracy, and this is Coffee with Ken. It is Wednesday morning. It is May 23rd. It is 4:51 my time, 5:51 Central Standard Time, where I'm accustomed to doing this show and where most of my viewers probably come from. So happy Wednesday. This is a little show I've been doing for a long, long time. It'll be 5 years. Sometime in June of 2019, I started. I was living in a dark apartment. I was missing the woman of my dreams. I was missing my dog, my house, my family, all the things that I valued so much. But what I've learned is no matter what you have on the outside, fancy house, nice car, beautiful wife, if you're not at peace with what's going on inside, life's going to be hard. And I don't want to say life's easy now, because let me tell you, life is not easy now. But at least you face the challenges with a laugh or a smile and with honesty and straightforwardness and determination. And that's what I'm doing. But anyway, for those that have been watching a while, somebody asked how the bed was. The bed was great. It was king size, and it is made, by the way. It is made. I talked about it yesterday. I'm staying in a different hotel than I was yesterday. I'll get to that in a minute. Debated making my bed yesterday, and one of my things, I believe habits make the person over time. And if you instill good habits and remove bad habits, you're going to become a better person over time. It's amazing how that works. And one of the easiest, most simple, most obvious habits first thing in the morning is when you're getting out of bed, just make it. And I'm not, a perfectionist by any stretch, but I want it to look okay that if, I don't know, somebody walked in, they'd go, oh, he took the time not to look like a slob. And I took the time not to look like a slob in my hotel. Although, like I said, when I was getting ready, I threw upon my nearly winter riding gear But it wasn't really my fault. It was on the chair I was going to sit in, and I needed to clear the chair, so that's why it's over there. But anyway, so the bed's very nice. The room's very nice. I'm coming at you from Casper, Wyoming today. I'm on what did I leave, Saturday? I left my safety of my hometown in Saturday morning at about 9:30 a.m. in Naperville, Illinois. And I rode 220 miles that night and got somewhere in Iowa. And from somewhere in Iowa, I rode 308 miles the next night and got to Gordon. No, where did I get to? Somewhere further in Iowa, maybe. I don't even know. I don't even remember. Somewhere. Oh, Jackson, Nebraska. I got to Jackson, Nebraska. And from there, I rode 320 more miles and got to Gordon, Nebraska. And when I'm saying rode, I'm riding. Somebody's watching from the Philippines. I appreciate you watching from the Philippines. Well, you're going to like this next part, Philippine person. I was riding my two-wheeled scooter across the country. Probably there's a lot of scooters, I'm guessing, in the Philippines, a bunch of them in Europe, and a bunch of them in all over Asia. But you don't see too many of them here in the States. And 10 years ago, when I was just finishing up or going through my first divorce, I needed basic transportation and didn't have a large budget. And a buddy suggested I look into buying a scooter, and I got on Craigslist and ended up buying a 125cc Kimco Agility 125 scooter for like $1,200, and I loved it. About 6 years later, I decided to get a bigger bike. I bought a Suzuki Bergman 400. It was a 2008. It had 9,350 miles on it at the time. Still driving that bike today, and now it has just over 21,000. 2,000 have been put on this year. 1,100 of those miles have been put on in the last 4.5 days. And let me tell you, when you're riding across the country on a scooter, probably on any motorcycle vehicle, you're in the elements and you're feeling it. You're experiencing the country. And sometimes the country can be rugged. And yesterday it was fairly rugged, and it was cold, and it was unexpected and colder than I could physically almost handle, and wet and cloudy and windy, and drove from Gordon, Nebraska to Casper, Wyoming, which is about 250 miles, I think, and was hoping to get another 50 to 100 miles in today, but I didn't have it. And I didn't have it in me. And I got into my hotel, and it was in the lobby and trying to pay, and was shivering, and people were coming up to me trying to have conversations, and I'm usually conversational, and I'll get them started. But my mind wasn't high functioning, and struggled completing sentences because I was cold and tired. Speaking of tired, for those that have been watching a while, what are my thoughts on Wyoming so far? Let me get to that in a minute. I'll tell you, the eastern part of Wyoming, and I apologize to anybody out there, my thoughts aren't that fond. It was barren, and it was cold, and it was wet, and it was windy, and it almost broke me. I was feeling despair and longing for the safety of home, and missing my children that are back in the Chicago area, and just thinking all the warm covers and the places I knew, and the Starbuckses and the McDonald's and the gas stations I could pull in anytime I wanted, as I was out in this vast wasteland that is eastern Wyoming. And again, cold, wet, wasn't totally sure where I was going, and was starting to feel the pangs of despair. If I could title this video, it would be The Pangs of Despair. But before I do that, for those who have been watching a while, it's also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. And with that in mind, I got a nice hot cup of coffee. It says Coffee with Ken on it, so I know it's mine, in front of me. And I'm excited to have my first sip at this early hour. My hope is that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you got a hot cup of coffee in front of you as well. Cheers to us. I usually reveal the coffee. I don't know what it is. It's lobby coffee. It's quality in lobby coffee. And I'll tell you what. It's pretty nice. It's fairly nice. I stayed in a hotel in Gordon, and Gordon is a very small town in northwest Nebraska, and it only had two hotel choices. One, the woman in the gas station rolled her eyes at, and the other one, she said, "Oh, then that one's better." And it was okay, but it was certainly not. It was small town Nebraska hotel. And this is Casper, Wyoming, which is a town you probably heard of, that I've heard of, that's just got over 50,000 people. For Wyoming, it seems like a bustling metropolis, and which is funny because it's really, my hometown is Naperville, Illinois, has 150,000 people, and is a suburb of Chicago. And is the suburb of Chicago, and it's got 150,000 people in it. And this is one of the biggest towns in Wyoming, and it's got 50,000. But anyway, the hotel's fairly nice, and I was getting off my scooter yesterday afternoon. I lost my debit card early in the trip, and I'm fortunate to have a little bit of cash in my pocket, not a lot bit, but some cash. And my dad wanted to pay for the hotel. I think sometimes life's easier when you have less choices. And Casper's a bigger town with a bunch of roads and people walking around in cars, and I'm cold and wet and tired as heck. And strangely, the sun's coming out for the first time all day, and it's about 6 or 7 o'clock last night, and it's shining down, and I didn't have my sunglasses on, and it was so bright. And I almost think it's because I'm in the mountains, or I'm at 5,000 feet, and there was less stuff, or my retinas had shrunken down, or my pupils had shrunken down together, had gone huge to gather as much light as I could over the last ride across Wyoming. But either way, the sun was blinding, and I was still freezing because it was 43 degrees. It was 43 degrees when I finished my ride yesterday. And again, it would rain occasionally. It was going between 45 and 50 degrees. And let me tell you, for those that have ridden before a motorcycle or a scooter, I can do it at home if I'm going to the store for 5 minutes or something like that, or downtown. But if you're riding across the country and you're going to be in 45 to 50 degree temperatures in the clouds and occasional rain while you're riding anywhere from 40 to 55 miles an hour, you're going to be really cold. And I was really cold. And I pulled into what felt like this massive town to me with a bunch of different directions, and the woman in my ear, the GPS, was telling me to stay on the route. And I entered Casper, Wyoming, and I was in Casper, Wyoming, but she was determined to tell me exactly which streets to turn on. And, I was tired and frustrated and annoyed with her and crabby. And I was asking some people in gas stations, where's a hotel? And they were telling me like I'm a local and saying, well, you take Phillips down 3 miles and you take a right on Main Street, and then you take a left here and you go up here and you go past this, and then you pull into this. And I'm going, huh? And again, my brain wasn't high functioning. But eventually, through shivering efforts on the internet and asking people where to go, I found a couple hotels and went to them. And I don't know if this story is interesting at all, but it's what I'm thinking about. And struggled to check in. My father, who just wanted to pay for my hotel room because I lost my debit card and he wanted to be kind and generous, who's an 84-year-old man who lives in the suburbs of Chicago, or at least the far west suburbs, actually near Rockford, is fairly tech savvy. But they were wanting to email him some user authorization form, and he was going to have to get a picture ID and email it back and fill out the form. And I'm going, he just wants to pay for my room. He goes, yeah, but what if he stole a credit card? I don't know. Don't people buy things all the time with credit cards? Do they always need to fill out authorization? All the time. In a perfect world, I'd have a credit card on me right now and I'd hand it to gas stations and I wouldn't have to deal with all this mess. And nobody would ask me to sign a authorization form and show them a picture ID and tell them I'm who I am and it's really my card. But for some reason, this hotel needed it. So checking in took it about an hour. And while I shivered in the lobby, drinking what was left of the lobby coffee, I went after the tray of cookies. I think they probably got annoyed at me. There was like 20 at the start, and there was some sugar cookies and oatmeal and chocolate chip. And I think I ate all the sugar and about half the chocolate chip cookies. I left the oatmeal for the rest of the guests, but they could have checked me in quicker, and then they would have had more cookies left for everybody else. It was their fault. But anyway, let's have another sip of coffee. I saw Liesel hop on. Hi, Liesel. I hope you're still watching. One of my good friends from back in Illinois, her husband helped me install the top case on my scooter the other night, which was life-saving. I happen to know a lot of really smart, talented people of various skills, and he is an engineer by trade and likes fixing things and doing things with his hands and putting things together. And I bought a top case, which is this big box that goes on the back of my scooter. Madrigal asked, what's the ride for? I'll give you a quick update. I had an opportunity to work a job for about the next 5 months in the Rocky Mountain area in Montana. And I can't imagine the change, but you are doing it. You inspire me. I look forward to your journey each day and your humorous thoughts each day. Well, thank you for saying that. My palms got sweaty in joy, you saying that nice thing. But anyway, I got opportunity to take a job and move to a place I never would have moved to. And I think I got pushed by God about 5 weeks ago when things weren't going exactly as I dreamed at home. And God gave me a little push and also delivered me a message, if you will, in the form of a friend sending me a link to an opportunity across the country that would allow me to cover my financial responsibilities, which are fairly significant as a twice divorced man with 4 beautiful kids, and hopefully put a little money in the bank and put a roof over my head and get my feet under me. Because I'll tell you, and I talked about it before on the ride out, I don't know if I want to talk about this. There was a little bit I thought of doing this ride or this journey for a cause. And I thought of cancer research because everyone does cancer research. And I have a young son who has Down syndrome. And my ex-wife suggested maybe you do it for Down syndrome. And I just thought it'd be neat to raise funds. I don't know, have people donate per mile or something and give the money to something. But on the ride out yesterday, as I was doing freezing and questioning my own mental health, I was thinking of doing it for like men's mental health awareness. And I'm going to get teary-eyed if I talk about it too much. But I have had an older brother, Steve, that took his life just over 2 years ago. And he was divorced, and he was struggling, and he was hurting, and he was doing his best, although we didn't approve of what he was doing at the time. He thought he was doing what was best. And he was trying, and he was struggling, and he eventually gave up and took his life. And that still haunts me all the time. And I don't think people understand how hard divorce can be, especially on men. And I'm going to just say it. And I know a bunch of women are going to get ticked off. Oh, it's hard on us. You leave us with the kids. First of all, we don't want to leave you with the kids. The courts make us. And secondly, I'm just going to say it. I don't care who gets pissed off. Society tends to rally around the children, and the children generally are around with the mom. And because of that, society has a bunch of support systems in place for the children and the mom. And the people that know them rally around them, and everyone's supportive of the mom. And I supportive of the mom too, and I'm supportive of the children too, and I'm not saying I'm not. But I'm just telling you, as a guy that's been through 2 divorces, society tells us to go out, get money, and send it back to women and kids, and who cares if you live in a box on the side of the street. And that's true. And that's true. And it can be hard because sometimes life throws the man a curve. And for some reason, somewhere in history, uh, women and children got to go on the lifeboats first, and men sunk with the ships. And men charged the beaches at Normandy and took machine gun fire and went in coal mines and felt fear and anxiety and stress and pain and hurt and emotions just like women do. But we weren't allowed to share them. We weren't allowed to share them because we had to be men and charge the machine guns and go out and find a job and provide for the family. And I get it. I get it. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying the reality is if you go through 2 divorces and you have 2 child support payments and you live in an expensive community and you're changing careers, it can be tough and it can be stressful. And it is hard to provide for yourself and take care of yourself while covering 2 expenses. And I'm not saying they're not needed, but there's a lot of pressure involved. And society doesn't always hear that side of the story or feel any sympathy for the man. If a man gets behind in child support, he's threatened with jail time. You know, my brother Steve went to jail because he got behind on child support. And he ended up getting in a downward spiral and spending too much time in jail and getting in trouble for all sorts of stupid little things. But they resulted in him taking his life 2 years ago. And I'm just saying, men have feelings too. And too often in life, we forget about it. And I was thinking about it on the ride out yesterday. That, hey, we used to be that little boy that got to go on the lifeboat. And we used to be somebody's son or little brother or what have you. But somehow when you hit 18, we're expected to have this hard suit of armor on us. But I'll tell you, personally, I still feel. And I'm still that little boy that's scared. And I think a lot of men, if they were being honest, would say that as well. And because of that, we're not allowed to express that. We hang out in bars and we drink alcohol and we cover up our pain with drugs and alcohol. And because of that, we are at a higher suicide rate. We end up in prison more. We have way earlier shorter life expectancy. And nobody cares. And everybody likes to bash on the man. It pisses me off, to be honest with you. We're easy targets, especially men that look like me, And it's easy, and you get terms like misogyny, and I don't even know what that is. It was something that was invented 3 years ago, and narcissist, and all these terms that are, because it's politically correct to kick at men today. And I think that's wrong because we're humans too, and we have feelings too, and we're struggling too, and we're hurting too, and we want to provide for our families and do what's right. But sometimes life can be tough on us too. And I think that's why men face such a higher suicide rate and such a higher mental health rate and such a higher addiction rate and such a higher prison rate is because we're not allowed to hurt or to express those feelings of pain or to struggle. We're supposed to be strong. And I love women, and I know women are strong, and I know women do so much for the family, and I really do. I really do. But everybody loves their mom. Everybody loves the mother, and everyone rallies around the mother. And a lot of times the man gets left behind a little bit. And I'm just saying it on the ride out yesterday. I'm riding across the country on a two-wheeled scooter because it's the only way I can provide for that I could come up with to send child support to two wives and put a roof over my head. And I'm not looking for any pity. These were my decisions, and they got me into this situation, and it's my life. So I'm not looking for any pity at all. But I'm just sharing this because I know I have men reaching out to me all the time that are struggling and connect and are struggling with alcoholism or drug addiction or depression or anxiety and are talking about taking their lives. And I'm just saying, the cause I was going to do it for on my ride out yesterday when I was freezing on the scooter was, if I would have done it, it would have been for men's mental health awareness, because my brother took his life. He made some dumb decisions, and he wasn't the kindest person along his path, but he was a human too. And he was a little boy too. And he was a precious little baby at one time too. And he was my big brother. And I don't know. I think too often people, I think it's okay for men to hurt and to feel anxiety and feel stress and feel pain and feel longing and feel afraid. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my brother Steve. Hopefully he's watching down and is proud of me for being crazy and riding a two-wheeled scooter into a storm warning into the mountains today, so I can get to my destination and work an awesome job and provide for my kids and put a roof over my head and have a neat experience and miss his kids for the next 5 months, and hope they know their dad loves them and is proud of them and is doing what he thinks is right. So I'm going to have one more sip of coffee. And I'm going to hop in the bath and go get some breakfast and dress warm and pack up my room and head out 346 miles today, 200 of them which are through the mountains. And there's wind warnings, and there were 2 routes I could choose from, a north route or a south route. And the south route avoided the winter storm warning. And when you're riding a scooter through the mountains, you don't want a winter storm warning. I don't even want a hint of breeze. I want San Diego weather, 75 and sunny. And it is not going to be 75 and sunny. Can it last longer than 5 months? Yeah, I don't. I'm just trying to make it through today, Atwood. I appreciate the question. I'm just trying to get there. If I get there, I'm going to be I've already been thanking God every morning. I did my stretching already. I woke up at 3:40 where I'm at, and I was terrified about the road I have in front of me and what I have to do. And I was chatting with a buddy, and he was encouraging me. And I'm just trying to get there. The job itself will be 5 months, but the adventure, life's an adventure, and you never know where it's going to lead you. And I don't know. I'm going to be in beautiful country for the next 5 months. And who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? You don't. And there's going to be so many doors opening for me. And I'll tell you what, there's doors opening for you as well. No matter what you're doing today, you're probably not riding a scooter through the mountains during a winter storm warning. But I'm telling you, I'm jealous of that. But you might be a little jealous of me that I am as well. But there's going to be doors opening every day for every one of us. There's going to be a lot of them for me. I'm going to meet so many interesting people and do some interesting things, God willing. That who knows what's going to happen in 5 months and where I'm going to go in 5 months. But hopefully I'm going to be back with my 2 little babies because it's going to be hard. They're going to be bigger. I have a 1.5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they're going to be bigger next time I see them. And I don't know if they're going to remember their data, and I hope they do, and I hope they understand FaceTime and that I love them very much. So, yeah, one more sip of coffee. It's emotional, Ken. I'm tired. I've been riding for 4 days, and I've got a lot on my mind. So, Anyway, um, yeah. I see the sky is lightening a little bit over there. It is 5:20. My goal is to be on the road at uh, 7. But any moment I get on the road before then, and I want to eat a good meal, and I want to take a hot bath, because I know I gotta heat the core as much as I can, and I gotta feed the engine that is our body, my body. And I hear it's biscuits and gravy again this morning, and I love biscuits and gravy. So I'm gonna go down there, eat a good breakfast, come in, get ready, take a hot bath, pack up, and be on the road by 7, hopefully a few minutes before. And my next target, I got to fill up for gas. I have a 100-mile ride to some small town in Wyoming, and then I head into the mountains. And I think I'll be okay in the next 100 miles. But I have 250 miles of mountainous riding ahead of me, and I must say I'm a little scared. But I'll be praying, and I'll be smiling, and I'll be enjoying it as much as possible and taking it as slow as I can, and trying to enjoy the scenery. But I'll tell you, I'm scared of speed, and I'm scared of heights, and I'm scared of driving in inclement weather. And I'm just imagining mountainous roads with cliffs off to the side. I'm scared of riding my scooter on streets in my hometown. Have I ever thought about getting a GoPro for my ride back home? Yeah, I thought about it. Honestly, I was thinking about going live stream, but I was worried I'd crash and it'd become some horrible video that's caught on live camera. Me crashing or hitting a buffalo or something like that. Midwest Mama, I'm headed to Montana. And I'm going to Montana, and my destination, I got to check in from 7 to 10 tomorrow in Montana, and have 346 miles in front of me, and excited about them, but terrified as well. And they're going to be scary miles, beautiful miles. And I'll tell you what, I am living life like I've never lived before. And sometimes maybe you got to push the envelope and experience things and do different things. But when you're riding a scooter across the country, it's not just travel, it's survival. And I'm seriously thinking about food and sustenance and happy. I know I have 2 bags of nuts and an apple and a honey bun in my back of my bike for sustenance in case there's an issue, or thinking about what would Bear Grylls do, because there's times when you're questioning not just the danger of the road, but just bike dying. And I'm riding through desolate areas of the country, and it's cold and wet and windy, and there's no trees. And I'm going, if it starts raining, where am I going to even hide for shelter? And there is none. And yeah, there's some scary times out there. And it's fun because I'm afraid of them. There's no doubt I'm feeling the fear. But I'm also facing it. And in my own way, I'm, yeah. I don't want to parallel to what guys in war have done, so I won't. I'll stop there. But I'm sure facing my fears and doing what I need to, and kind of going on the journey of a lifetime and enjoying it, and appreciate sharing it with you in the morning, and hopping on and posting my videos as I need to or see fit during the day. And just, I don't know. I wish you well today, and I hope you had a great night's sleep, and I hope you're feeling good, and I hope you're excited about your day, and I hope you're appreciating the loved ones around you, the 4 wheels under your your steering wheel, and all the blessings that you have. Because I'll tell you what, I'm a really blessed individual, and am very fortunate in life in so many ways. Yeah. So count your blessings, and if you're struggling out there, think of a few things you're grateful for. And I'm struggling, and I'm terrified, and I'm anxious, and I'm nervous, and I'm grateful for the coffee and the biscuits and gravy that I have down in the lobby, and the hot bath I have in front of me, and my scooter that's been so reliable for me, and the money I have in my pocket to get me gas, and my friends supporting me and loving on me, and my family doing the same. And grateful for so much. And feeling gratitude is the best way to get through the hard times. And I wish my brother Steve would have known that, and been able to think about a few things he's grateful for. But due to stuff in his life, he wasn't able to. And so part of this ride's for him. And I want to thank you for joining. Thank you for following along in my journey. I appreciate you. Hope you're feeling good. Hope you had a great night's sleep. Hope you're loving yourself. I hope you are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.